Salutations and good morrow everyone, welcome back to another Anno update video where today we're hopping in, we're going to be looking at the devlog for the Seeds of Change DLC that is coming out next week to Anno. Yes, this one is coming out right in the middle of April for us. It is a brand new DLC that is focused on what? Well, it's focused on the new world. So for those of you who have played a lot of Anno, or those of you who have played a little bit of Anno, you will know that the new world is kind of the hindrance when it comes to the Anno community right now. I mean, you need a lot of rum out of there. You need a lot of their different materials that they get out of there, including when you start getting into skyscrapers and doing other things for tourists and all of that. There's a lot of extra things that you start needing from the new world. And one of the problems is that right now the new world hasn't really gotten an update other than more buildings you need to put on the same small amounts of land. So their first DLC is here to help with that a little bit. Now, as the DLCs go on throughout the rest of the year, they will eventually make it so you have more land to build on, what have you. But let's focus on Seeds of Change for first of all. So it says white stucco walls topped with red clay tiles, heavy wooden doors and shutters, a spacious courtyard shimmering in the sun, the unmistakable features of the Hacienda. So that is what this one's all about. It is about putting in a building called the Hacienda. Here is a picture of the Hacienda. The Hacienda is kind of like, as I understand it, the new world's version of a palace, right? So you know that when you're in the old world, you can build up a palace and pass some edicts, and a lot of different things happen because of that, whether it's reduced consumption of goods or all sorts of things, right? We all know that. Well, one of the cool things about the Hacienda is it's a lot like that, but within the Hacienda, it also adds a whole bunch of other things as well. So let's read through this. It says, the heart of this DLC is the Hacienda, a special building that can be constructed in the new world. Why is it special, you might ask? First of all, it functions as a central hub for the different production buildings or modules that can be placed around the Hacienda itself. So in addition, the Hacienda allows you to enact island-wide edicts. While it also functions as a warehouse, it can be unlocked once you reach the obrero population tier. However, there is something important to keep in mind. You can only build one Hacienda per island. So that's something you want to think about, right? So you can build one Hacienda per island, which is fantastic, but you could only have one Hacienda per island. So like I said, it's a lot like the palace where you pass edicts, but it's not like the palace in a way that you're able to actually go through and get different modules for it that do different things, whether it's producing food, producing fertilizer, and all of that. We'll get more into that in just a second. So first of all, it's radius. It says another important factor to always keep in mind with the Hacienda is the radius. In order to function, each Hacienda module must be placed within the Hacienda radius. This means the buildings that are placed outside of the range will automatically be paused, but do not worry, the radius can be extended with population, and the more the population grows, the more the Hacienda range will expand. So one of the cool things about this is that you could literally, once you start getting the obreros unlocked, you can go to other islands, unlock obreros really quick, pop one of these in there, and boom, start growing a big population with them, because there's also housing modules that go along with the Hacienda as well. But obreros are tier 2, which means you need to build in the new world for a little while in order to unlock your obreros, get yourself your new tiered people, and then you'll unlock your Hacienda. So I'm super looking forward to testing this out, because as you can see right now, the Hacienda range is actually kind of poor for when it first starts. But as you go and build more buildings, get population up and stuff like that, it'll spread. So you can literally put a Hacienda on each different island, make each different island a super hub for different things, and really have a decent amount of production finally happening on your islands. So let's talk modules. The Hacienda is an optional building that can expand its functionality. These buildings are called modules and serve different purposes. Highly productive Hacienda farms, additional storage buildings, space-efficient residences, and the Hacienda Brewery. They can all be selected from the Hacienda menu, and in order to function, these modules must be built within the radius and must be connected to the Hacienda by roads, either by special Hacienda roads or normal ones. It's your choice. Let's go through each of the modules. Okay, so before we jump into each of the modules, like it says, you can connect things via roads. Unlike the palace, it doesn't all need to be connected, or the harbor, or any of the harbor, the zoo, the museum, the botanical garden, the palace. All these different things all need to be connected all together, right? Not this one. you can connect them via roads as long as they're within that radius, which is really, really nice. So let's talk a little bit about the modules. We have things like space-efficient residences, highly productive farms, the brewery, storerooms, and much and go on. So first of all, let's talk residences. It says the residences, there's two different residence modules, one for the llaneros and one for the obreros. So both buildings can house significantly more residents and are also bigger than their standard counterparts. So they're 4x4 instead of 3x3. So the regular house in all of Anno's games is always 3x3. But with these ones, it becomes a 4x4. So it's a little bit bigger, but that's okay because it says it houses significantly more. I don't know what significantly more is. If it means instead of housing 10, it houses 50. I'm not sure. I know for something like the skyscrapers, when they were talking significantly more, you started to be able to house like 400 investors in one skyscraper, and that's just one of the tiers, right? So really cool. Highly productive farms. One of the interesting modules of the Hacienda farm allows you to cultivate a wide variety of crops and non-local based ones such as grain. Hacienda farms also offer high space efficiency, rewarding fewer farm modules than their standard counterparts, which means you're going to be able to get more farms into your Hacienda range that only are going to use 64 tiles instead of some of them, like the wheat farm, I believe is 108. So it's going to start using a lot less room. Because after you build the Hacienda farm, you can select the crop you would like to grow from the recipe book. Just like the other modules, farms must be built within the radius, and they can also have tractor barns and fertilizer as well. And fertilizer is going to come in just a little while. So brewery. Brewery's a big one because we all know that one of the biggest pains in the butt when you're playing Anno is getting beer from the old world to the new world, right? And all of them want beer, especially when you start getting up in levels and everything, and it starts to become a huge thing. So being able to have a brewery that can literally brew beer right there in the new world is going to be fantastic. So it's really cool to see that we got that. It's also going to add new spicy hot sauce, just like with the Hacienda farm. So you're going to be able to produce hot sauce as well. I'm not sure where this hot sauce is going to go. Most likely up to the skyscrapers, because that's kind of where everything goes, is to the skyscrapers or possibly the Hacienda buildings themselves. The storeroom allows you to have a large storage capacity on land instead of in the harbor. So that's really cool. And then finally, the fertilizer works. So we're going to be getting a fertilizer works that's going to allow you to produce fertilizer that's going to make your farms grow that much faster. It says this is where the magic happens. This module will allow you to produce fertilizer, which is consumed by farms as an additional good that boosts their productivity. Just like the Hacienda building, the fertilizer module has an influence radius, in this case to collect dung, of course. From how? Well, from animals. That's how. So, dung and fertilizer. Let's talk a little bit more about that. So dung and fertilizer. To acquire fertilizer, you must construct animal farms within the radius of the fertilizer works. Buildings will use their general goods, and animals' farms will start producing dung. So in other words, the animals are going to take a dump and you're going to go pick it up and turn it into fertilizer. You can literally boost productivity up to 400% with fertilizer, which is outstanding. And to think that you're going to be able to produce a small farm that's only got 64 tiles on it instead of 96 to however many. And you can use... You can get productivity up to 400%. That means one farm is going to be smaller, but producing more than 4 regular farms back in your old world. So it's going to be worth that much more, right? So fertilizer farms are going to be absolutely massive. So I'm super excited to see what all we can do with fertilizer. They're also talking about tutorials here. I'm not going to go over tutorials. If you guys want to go over tutorials, we're going to go over that when the actual DLC releases. I'll walk you guys through how to build your Hacienda, some helpful tips and everything like that, because I'm actually a very passionate Anno player. I just don't put a lot of it on the channel at the moment. Okay, so edicts is another thing that we get. So another important feature of the Hacienda is the possibility to enact policies that will affect the whole island on which the Hacienda has been built. Only one decree at a time can be active by selecting specific one in the Hacienda menu. You could choose from a wide variety of edicts that revise it as necessary. Here's a couple of examples. Dietary education edict, which is going to reduce food consumption of people on the island, or local assemblies, the Hacienda Obrera quarters produce influence, which would be absolutely fantastic because we all know when you want to start using your influence to do things like building new islands, getting boats, unlocking new places, things in the newspaper, if you like to do the newspaper thing, all of that all requires influence, right? So if you can get obreros now giving you influence. That's going to be huge, right? Okay, and the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about today is ornaments. We are getting some new ornaments. You're going to be able to add 11 Hacienda ornaments around your Hacienda to make it look that much better. Look at how absolutely beautiful that this game is going to get. Anno is already, to me, one of the most beautiful city builders, if not the most beautiful city builder, when it just comes to the look of the game. So the fact that we're getting even more decorations to make even more gorgeous cities, I'm super excited. I cannot wait. But guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Anno Update. So thank you all so much for watching this episode. If you guys liked it, hit that like button for me. Let me know you guys want to see more. Also, please do not forget to leave a comment down below if you guys are excited about the next Anno update. And we're going to be playing Anno pretty much every day up until the Anno update releases next week. So thank you all so much. And as always, I'll see all of you guys on Tuesday, April 12th for the new Anno update.